The 1960s were a time of change, powerful protests, and war. And things weren't always what they seemed, and they were much different from our current time. Especially with the baby boom, and them growing up to be teenagers, people who would be hippies or activists would protest whatever they wanted. And that would change our lives and many more to come.
Really couldn't get away too soon.
And this is what they thought.
That haven't, and they can tell us we're crazy, and we can say, well, you haven't seen.
And during those protests, many would listen to amazing new bands such as the Beatles. This band revolutionized the whole world with the new term, Beatlemania. Everybody loved them, everybody listened to them, and it was just impossible for you not to know them.
Now you have heard of women's rights and how we've tried to reach new heights if we're all created equal.
With the legalization of birth control and abortions, it proved that women can be anything they wanted to. They finally got the power to rise up and stand for things they believed in. Women were given rights and were able to do anything men were. Now, moving on to politics, especially Canada's. We had the three major prime ministers during the 1960s. This is John Diefenbaker. He changed Canada by creating the Canadian Bill of Rights.
I am a Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to worship in my own way, free to stand what I think right.
He gave rights to most of the Canadians, especially the natives, who were not treated highly during that time. Lester B. Pearson was an amazing prime minister. He changed the Canadian flag. Some believed it would be a 3 maple leaf flag, but instead it became the simple 1 maple leaf flag that we know now. Pierre Elliot Trudeau became a prime minister on April 20th with a majority government. One of his biggest tests was the October crisis, when 2 politicians were abducted by the FLQ, which resulted in the placement of the War Measures Act. And this is his speech.
Decided to proclaim the War Measures Act. It did so at 4 a.m. this morning in order to permit the full weight of government to be brought quickly to bear on all those persons advocating or practicing violence as a means of achieving political ends. At the moment, the FLQ is holding hostage 2 men in the Montreal area, one a British diplomat, the other a Quebec cabinet minister. They are threatened with murder. Should the governments give in to this crude blackmail, we would be facing the breakdown of the legal system and its replacement by the law of the jungle.
Trudeau also implemented the Official Languages Act, which made Canada have 2 official languages, French and English.
From the French-Canadian side, they will have been given the first concrete proof that Canada and Canadians are just not a host of good intentions, but that we really mean to get down to business when we talk about the 2 official languages.
In the 1960s, a new party came into power, the NDP, led by Thomas Douglas, who implemented the Canadian healthcare system.
Child, irrespective of their income, their age, or their physical condition.
Let's look at the neighbors of Canada who had their own fair share of protests, starting with the protest for equal rights for both races.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed.
The country I come from is called the Midwest. I was taught and brought up there the laws to abide.
JFK was one of the most popular presidents in America during the 60s. Despite the Cold War and the Cuban missiles, JFK was assassinated because of the speech.
Together, let us explore the stars, conquer the deserts, eradicate disease, tap the ocean depth, and encourage the arts and commerce.
In America, not all things require violence. In 1969, the Americans first set foot on the moon, which changed the whole world. One of America's biggest celebrities was Marilyn Monroe, a bombshell blonde. And there was also Audrey Hepburn, which was notorious for her amazing film, Breakfast at Tiffany's. And lastly, one of the biggest celebrities was Twiggy, an amazing fashion model who even posed with David Bowie. There was also a revolutionary invention, the credit card. People were now able to purchase goods without cash or any money, and it just changed because everybody could now buy anything they wanted, especially since they could go and buy on credit. Now, let's not forget about the fashion during the 60s. It was extremely different from what we have right now. People were color blocking with long dresses with A-line sort of things, and it wasn't just women, it was men too, with their fancy sweaters and cardigans and extreme risks they had to take. And let's not forget one of the most notorious things part of the 60s, the hippie fashion. It involved long flowy skirts with floral prints, and it wasn't just girls, it was guys too, with their like extremely tight pants. The 60s were an amazing time that changed and gave rights to almost anybody you can imagine. From people of different color, of ethnicity, especially the natives and women. Everything was different. With styles and amazing progresses with the moon, things were changing. And here's a local of Toronto, right here and now. And it doesn't seem so different right now because during the winter, people still go there and skate. But looking at it right now, it seems all so different. With their old cars and their old fashion sense, and it was just amazing. So thank you for watching, and this is Canada in the 60s. Actually no, it's North America in the 60s. Thank you.
Everything I want, I have. Whenever I hold you tight, this magic moment